Hey there, this is Matt with T&J here at M&R to discuss screen tape. It's an important part for every shop to do because when we're coating our screens, there's always going to be a gap on the side of the emulsion. We want to make sure that we're not going to have ink seeping through that area and making a mess all over. I really recommend that when we do this, we use split tape. Split tape's important and really works well because it has two different adhesive levels. The white area has a higher adhesive to stick really well to the emulsion, while the colored area has a lightly less adhesive just to make sure it bonds to the metal without being too strong that shears off when we're trying to take it off, or that when it gets wet it comes off in little chunks. So I really do recommend using this type of tape. Other tapes, oftentimes I'll see people using packing tape because it's cheap. Well, there's problems with that too because it will overtack to the aluminum of the frame, or even worse, get stuck up in the mesh, and then your reclaimer sitting there having to peel off little pieces of tape on your frame, and they're trying to blast out adhesive stuck to the mesh. That can cause some serious problems for your screen. So although you're saving some time on the actual product you're using by going that way, you're usually increasing your labor cost by having to work with those lower level tapes. So that being said, I want to look at another option you have if you do not want to tape your screens. There are things out there that most screen stretchers will do called a permanent tape or a perma-seal. This is going to be the similar epoxy they use to actually put the mesh on your frame, extended a few inches. So this way, when you coat your screen, you're going to use your trough. It's going to go a little past this line. Coat your screens on both sides. It'll dry, and then now you're pretty much permanently sealed from having to worry about taping those areas. Keep an eye for pinholes still because they can still seep through. Now there are pros and cons to this as well as pros and cons to tape. So choose what works best for you. One other great part about doing the tape is when we're taping it, if we tape all four sides in a row, when your reclaimer does get this to have to reclaim, ideally they're able to pull one corner and usually a little neater than that, be able to get all the tape off in one nice tape ball. That way they can go straight into reclaiming. All right, now I'm going to get into the best practices for taping your screen. First off, we want to look at our station that we're working with. This is a nice backlit table, which I like because when I'm putting the screen down to tape it, I'm able to look for pinholes and help be another point for quality control. Other important thing is to make sure you don't have any sharp edges sticking up. Obviously, you're putting it mesh side down. We don't want something that's going to come pop the screen. That'd be a big problem. So, usually what we most often see is a tape dispenser like this. We're currently using a 4-inch split tape in this tape dispenser. So, get this butted up to your tape dispenser. Pull it to its length. Then once again, we're going to use the heavier tacked area, which is the white of the tape, and we're going to line it up a little into the emulsed area. That's going to make sure that we're not leaving any kind of little gap for the ink to find its way. So we're going to cover up that area, lay it flat, and then roll it back up to the metal walls. It's really important, like I said, to make sure this is a nice flat surface. If we have any little air pockets in there, if we're printing, it's going to work its way in there, especially water-based. It's going to really work its way in there. And as the water-based ink gets hot, it'll evaporate, and it'll release the tape, and you'll make a giant mess. So lay it flat, spin it. Once again, we want to stack them so it's easier to peel it later. And pull this side, flip it, so we once again go the white side down onto the emulsion. And roll it back. This is the most common way. However, if you do not have a tape dispenser, your local supplier should be able to get you one, or you can always do what I was taught, which was scissors and your tape. So it works basically the same way. All you have to do is use the scissors as a hinge on the inside, go to your edge, pull to the length, and cut. Take it. I like to fold it in half. Once again, you take your white edge, and that goes down over the lip of where the emulsion is, and then you roll it back. The same thing for the last side. You'll find one is better for you than the other, and that's okay. The biggest thing that we're looking for is we want to make sure that we are doing this correctly. It's important to get good at it and then get fast at it. We want to make sure that as an employee being paid to do a process, we're doing the best that we can while not taking too long to do it. So start off just with whatever works for you, make sure you're covering the edges really well, and then work your way up to speed. Now, if you're using a Newman roller or another roller frame, the same exact process is going to work. Make sure that your corners don't have too much sag in them, because that can cause a problem for where you're trying to get your corners to meet, but it works the same way. One other benefit for this is if you are doing water base, you might find that it wants to actually break down your emulsion. Well, you can work on your emulsion time to make sure your exposure's better, or a better stencil thickness. You can also use a secondary piece of tape right along the edge of where your actual squeegee and flood bar come down to move. So use whatever's best for you. Once again, I do highly, highly, highly recommend that you use a split tape. Hopefully you found this video helpful. I would like to know if you guys are using roller frames or static frames. Maybe you can leave a comment below and let us know. And please subscribe to this channel and follow for more videos. Great, thanks, and happy printing.